One bright morning, as the sunlight began to shine on the green expanse of rice fields, I decided to walk along the footpath towards the rice fields. The morning air felt cool, and the scent of wet earth roused my spirits. The sun began to creep up, creating a golden glow over the farm fields. Halfway through, my attention was drawn to a familiar-looking figure in the distance. A number of steps closer, I saw the farmer who was none other than my neighbor. He was known as a tenacious and dedicated farmer, always working hard to cultivate his land. As I got closer, I saw that he was planting chili seedlings, a task that was done with great meticulousness. Alongside him, his wife was also directly involved in the planting process. The alignment between the two creates a harmonious atmosphere among the land they work. With practiced movements, they dug the ground a little, carefully placed the chili seedlings, then gently closed them back in. His wife was no less deft, performing her duties with great attention. Sometimes, they exchanged smiles, creating priceless moments of togetherness. I approached them with curiosity. I approached them and they greeted with a smile. We talked in the rice fields. I observed and learned. Carefully he showed me how to plant chili seeds properly. His rough hands from working in the fields grasped a young sapling, then carefully planted it into the small hole he had made. Planting this chili cannot be arbitrary, he said while tidying up the soil around the seedlings he had just planted. Care should be taken of the spacing, not too close, so that the roots can grow well. I followed suit, planting one pepper seedling at a time into the prepared soil. While working, he started sharing a lot of advice about farming. Farming is not just planting and harvesting, but about how we care for the land, understand the seasons, and maintain the balance of nature, he says in wise tones. He then talked about how he started farming at an early age, learning from his father who was also a farmer. In the past, he says, they relied solely on traditional methods without much help from technology. There are many modern fertilizers and pesticides now, but if not used wisely, they can damage the soil and crops, he added. While continuing to plant, he explained the importance of selecting superior seeds for a bountiful harvest. A healthy seedling has strong roots and a sturdy stem. Don't just pick, because good seeds will determine the results later. I nodded, absorbing every word he said. Again he smiled at me. Farming also teaches patience, he said. These chilies take several months until they can be harvested. If we are impatient, lazy to care, the results can be disappointing. I pondered his words. It turns out that farming is not just a job, it also contains many philosophies of life. I learned that caring for a plant is like caring for a life. It takes perseverance, patience, and gratitude. I felt happy and able to learn even if only for a while. And he said again, if you really want to learn to farm, don't just see the results, but enjoy the process. I smiled and nodded. That day, I not only learned how to grow chilies, but also understood the meaning of patience, hard work, and wisdom contained in every grain of soil we stepped on. Today, we also talked about the red peppers ready for harvest, their color glowing in the sunlight, as if illustrating the farmer's hopes for a bountiful harvest. He said, later when the harvest comes he will pick chilies one by one, choosing chilies that are red or ready to harvest. He must be careful when picking not to damage chili plants so that later can bear fruit again well and will get more harvest. He smiled, then said, the price of this chili can change every day. Sometimes expensive, sometimes cheap. unpredictable. I turned, intrigued by what he had to say. Then, what if during the harvest the price of chili is falling? I asked curiously. He sighed for a moment, then replied, that is the challenge of being a farmer. We cannot set a price, can only hope and strive. But, despite the fall in prices, we should still be grateful. Farming is not just about profit and loss, but about perseverance and sincerity. I fell silent, pondering his words. All this time, I always thought that a bountiful harvest must bring great profits. But as it turns out, behind it lies an uncertainty that should be accepted gracefully. He continued, once upon a time, I had a big harvest, but the price of chilies dropped drastically. If sold, the results are not comparable to the capital and energy that has been spent. It's sad, but what can I do? It has become a part of farmers' lives. I saw the passion in his eyes. Despite having experienced ups and downs in farming, he remained steadfast and uncomplaining. When the price is low, I don't rush to sell everything. Some I keep, some I process into sambal and sell in the market. The important thing is not to give up, he continued with a smile. I learned something valuable that day. Life as a farmer is not always easy, but those who are diligent and patient will surely find a way to survive. This farmer teaches that in life, not everything can be controlled, but we can always choose to be grateful and enjoy every process. After a while I was here, he was still smiling. That means he does not mind me being here. I also learned that happiness comes not only from results, but also from the process and sincerity in living it. After quite a long time here, I've talked a lot with NYA. Banyak agricultural knowledge that I have gained from him. He has shared a lot of experience during being a farmer. Actually, I still want to stay here for a long time, still want to exchange experiences with him. He is a friendly and diligent farmer. But I have to leave here because work is also waiting for me in my rice field. I have to harvest my rice plants today. I started to walk away from this couple. I walked along the footpath to my house. Beautiful scenery among the vast expanse of green rice fields. I enjoyed this trip. That's all for today's story. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and were entertained. See you on another occasion.